Hey guys, it's Wild Way Triple A coming back to you with another video. I decided to record this video while I'm walking one of my foster dogs, and it's quieter than being in my house because I'm in a semi-row home and my next door neighbors are white and they're newsy as shit. And I want to say what I want to say. And I mean this shit with my whole chest. I wanted to come to you guys and speak on that Kanye and Kyrie fiasco that's been dominating the media these past few weeks. And I really specifically today just wanted to focus on Kyrie. Now, I don't know how many of y'all been following this bullshit, but I just got wind of the latest demands that they have for Kyrie in order for him to maintain his position in basketball. The latest that I've heard is that he has to jump through 5 or 6 different hoops, like at Ringling Brothers Circus. Okay? He has to go to all this sensitivity training for the Untouchables. He has to, at the end of his sensitivity training, he must, and I repeat, he must complete a oral test of what he's learned. And no, it's not multiple choice. He better get his thesis skills right up, because they want this man to write a thesis paper on everything that he's learned. And I can guarantee you, on top of that, they want him to give them a good explanation as to why they should allow him to play. Okay? So now, I had this to say to Kyrie. I'm telling you right now, if you haven't saved your coins during this fiasco, shame on you. You make way more money than the average black person. If you haven't invested in some type of real estate, if you haven't put your money in a Swiss bank account, if you are not thinking about gathering your coins now and doing a Tasha K and moving to Africa, shame on you. Because I'm going to tell you like this right here. If it were me, I would tell them to kiss my ass. You take that job and shove it. Because guess what? You saw this coming down the pipeline way before you posted that Twitter post. When you denied the shot. They were on your ass from then. They were on your ass from 2020. Okay? So, what's happening to you now should not come as a shock because it was already in the pipelines. They were already gunning for your job when you said that you refused the shot. Okay? So, let's not act clueless and stupefied now. And I'm going to say this to all those people, exactly, Baxter, that's exactly how I feel. Piss on this situation. To all those people out there that think that dribbling a ball, catching a ball, running after a ball is a career, you are sadly mistaken. See, what I notice is that the majority of y'all black men get into these jobs because they're not careers. I'm going to say it again. They are not careers. You get into these jobs and you think that you're going to go out legendary like Kobe. You think you're going to end up a star like Michael Jordan. You think that years later after you've left the job, people are still going to be praising your name. That's the main reason why you get into the job. And here's why it's just a job, okay? If I get hurt at corporate, I fall down the steps at corporate. I can get short-term or long-term disability. Now, depending on how long I'm out, yeah, they can they can eliminate the position, right? They will eliminate the position. But I'm not getting traded to another company. You know what I mean? My career isn't over if I do everything they want me to do at 35. I'm not washed up if I don't do, see, what I'm trying to get at is these jobs that these guys have are based on athletic ability only. Come on, Bax. They're based on athletic ability only. So, when they go out for an injury during that time period, they could be traded. If they don't perform the way their position is set up to perform, they can be traded or they can be fired. Yeah, you could go to another team, but I'm trying to equate this to a position that average black people understand. In corporate, you're not washed up if you don't perform at your tip-top level that you did when you first came into the company. Now, I'm not talking about egregious behavior that will cause you to be fired. What I'm just talking about is, on average, most black people go into corporate under the guise of retiring at that company, getting a 401k, getting a pension of some sort. Okay? These short-term jobs that these athletes are signed on to are just that. These are not jobs that if they don't save their funds, that they can bank on. There's been plenty of studies that have proven that these athletes go broke 5 to 10 years after leaving the job. So, miss me with he's losing out, Kyrie is losing out on something if he doesn't comply. I myself have been in a similar situation with corporate during the pandemic. Let me just backtrack. They weren't a corporate company, okay? But it was a company nonetheless. During the pandemic, a lot of us who were blessed to get unemployment will admit that we have gotten the most money during unemployment that we've ever made in our lives. Now, what I noticed is that average motherfuckers was taking that money, was taking that money and getting BBLs with it, buying cars, clothes, hair weaves, flying out on Spirit Airlines. But the smart ones like me, and I know it's a couple of y'all out there, was banking your money because you knew that a good thing couldn't last long. Don't nobody give you nothing for free, darling. And the world government knew that the majority of us would not be allowed to go back to the positions that we had prior to COVID. They knew that a lot of our positions would be eliminated, or they also knew that a lot of these corporations that we were employed with would not hire a lot of us back. Okay? So if you was paying attention like I was, I knew that as egregious as the position that I had was, I knew that even before they came up with a shot, while we was all waiting that year to see what was going to happen with the world, I knew that my company was going to be one of those companies that made up false allegations as to why they didn't want me to come back. Now, a lot of that had to do with the PPP loan. Okay? Because a lot of these corporations, a lot of these small mom and pop shops got PPP loans. So they was able to flex and get everything that they never could afford to have on their company benefits. Because please understand, a lot of these companies couldn't afford to pay medical insurance. Here come the PPP loan, and they're able to flex, just like I'm able to flex with my extra unemployment payments. So, see, we both got a wake up call. All right? I knew from the gate that I wasn't going back. Now, I had heard through the grapevine from other house Negroes that they didn't want me back. And I can only assume that they told these individuals these things so that they could tell me so that I could essentially beg for my job back. Boo-boo. I don't need you. I knew I wasn't going back during the pandemic. Even if they wanted me to, which I didn't care, because the position that I had was customer facing. And during that year, late 2020, early 2021, I was not interfacing with anybody, mask or no mask. Except for the people that I knew. And even then, guess what? I still got COVID. Even after isolating myself, I still got COVID. So I knew that I wasn't going to be putting my life in danger, associating myself with random people for a couple coins. Okay? Hear what I'm saying to you. How does all this tie together, Wild Way? Kyrie, do you really need that money that bad? This is what you got to ask yourself. And yes, it's way more money than the average black person will ever see. But I'm equating this to that extra money and the way I felt when I was getting it from unemployment. Okay? I didn't look a gift horse in the mouth. I knew don't nobody give you nothing for free. And let me save this money because it will behoove me to do so. Do you need to make a statement that bad just to get your job back? Because you've already heard while I said it's not a career. And all of the money that you've made so far, if you were stupid enough to not have invested that money in some overseas stocks and bonds or put your money in some overseas banks, double and triple your money in these third world countries, then that's on you, Kyrie. Because just like I was not willing to degrade myself to beg for a job back that I obviously didn't want, why, if you come out and degrade yourself by admitting that you were wrong for watching a documentary that you didn't even produce, that is being sold for profit by Amazon, Jeffrey Bezos is not being held to the fire like you. Jeffrey Bezos isn't made to... Is his name Jeff Bezos? I don't give a fuck. Bezos. He's not being held to any type of standard to apologize for having this anti-documentary being mass produced and pushed through his company. Now, I could get into a whole analogy about why that is. And no, I did the research. Bezos is not one of the untouchables. But he's closely associated. So you got to ask yourself, if they are so mentally damaged and so sensitive about this documentary, why haven't they come after Bezos to stop pushing the documentary? Why would they go to the so-called lesser race? You know, us who are always blamed for everything. I'm talking about towards the end of the pandemic, instead of them blaming the Asians like they should have, because that's where it came from, who did they start? What race of people did they start blaming for spreading COVID? Black people. So let's go to the scapegoat. We're scared of Bezos, is what the anti-community is saying. So we're going to go after the scapegoat that every other race agrees is the problem with the world. Because see, when you scream racism, they say get over it. Nobody you know has ever lived through the slavery aspect of the culture. Yet they have no problem every time you turn around creating slave documentaries. And of course, that's not supposed to desensitize the public towards slavery now, is it? Yet they're saying this documentary desensitized people towards their plight. But yet when they make, once again, a movie about our ancestors being enslaved, we can't ever yell racism, because whenever we see racism and call it out, we're called racist by the racists. So tell me who here should be playing the Victim Olympics right now? If we want to play the Victim Olympics, what race would win? Okay, because what I don't understand is, if my generation and the generation before me haven't lived through slavery, then the same ones complaining haven't lived through the incident that occurred in the 40s with Hitler. Yeah, you can say, well, wait, there are still elderly people who are alive and who have lived through it. And there are still witnesses who are still alive in our race who can attest to slavery. So yeah, let's play the Victim Olympics. Let's play the Victim Olympics. I'm with it. Kyrie, if you don't take your money and go do a Tasha K, like I just said, and move to Africa with your coins and build you a house and live happily ever after, I don't know what's wrong with you. Because I'll be damned if it was me and I was in that same situation with the company that I didn't want to go back to. Child, get them the middle finger just like I did. I bust out laughing when people was calling me and telling me they said they didn't want me to come back. I don't get, are you fucking shitting me? All this money that I got? Why in the fuck would I want to come back? See, I guess they had banked on the fact that I would be one of those black people that would spend up all their money. But see, I don't follow the black philosophy. I don't got no kids. I don't live in the hood. I ain't got no baby daddies in jail whose commissary I gotta keep full. So I'm not your average. Because I know that is the reason why I stock my money. And not to toot my own horn, I had stocked my money to the point where I'm still living off that money today. Believe it or not, I'm still living off that money today. And I know there were some people who was like, damn, how much was you getting? I was getting the same amount that everybody else was getting. But I was strategic in my funds. I'm old enough to know that nothing lasts forever. And if you were dumb enough to believe that everybody who got that money was going to get their positions back, why do you think they gave that money in the first place? They knew that, I don't even want to give a number. I'm just going to guess. 80% of Americans were not going to get back the positions that they had prior to the pandemic. So if you smart, they didn't say that. They didn't say, dummy, if you smart, save your money. They just gave you the money, and just like with Jesus, you get free will. You do with the money whatever you want to do with it. But if you dumb enough to spend it because you geeked about the flex that you just got, it wasn't the flex that you thought that it was. So save your money for a rainy day. Kyrie, I hope you save your money for a rainy day, darling. Because the way it looks, honey, you're not getting your job back. Now, here's what I'm telling you is going to happen. They're going to make you jump through all them rings and all them hoops. And after you apologize 50, 11 times, you might even have to have a baby by one of them. They're going to tell you they still don't want you. So now what was all that for? You better get your house in order. You and Kanye. Because see, now everybody want to play woke when it's too late. Don't get woke now and talk out of both sides of your mouth, Kanye. Because it was all good when you was getting that money, you was married to that white girl. As soon as everybody flipped on you, including her, now you want to run back to the black community like O.J. Simpson. No, stand on your own 2 feet, 10 toes down to the concrete on your values if you really have any. Because I don't believe nan one of y'all. I don't believe nan one of y'all got no values. You just want sympathy, and you're not going to get it from me. You were stupid for letting these people know your every thought pattern. Are you high? What kind of drugs they got in Hollywood? Because the way you running your mouth like diarrhea, you don't let your right hand know what your left hand doing. I mean, damn. Everybody black feel the same way, but everybody black, let me tell you something, you keep it 100 everywhere you go, and you ain't gonna have nowhere to live. And that's just simple politics. And if you can't grasp the simplicity of life, maybe you don't deserve that money in the first place. I'm not caping for you. Listen, I got a lot more to say about this subject. This is Wild Way 888. If you enjoyed this walk and talk with my foster baby, Baxter, subscribe, leave a comment if you want to. Thanks for listening. I'm out.